Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a Monday Night Live DJ Chat here on DJN TV. I'm John Young, your host tonight, and tonight I've got a couple of special guests. These are the gentlemen behind the Sparkle Factor. Gentlemen, can you please introduce yourself, because I want them to hear that I'm not the only one with a northern accent.
Am I going first?
Yeah, go ahead, Barry. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I'm Barry Kay. I'm
Good
from
evening, ladies and
Winnipeg,
gentlemen. Welcome
Manitoba,
to a Monday
Canada.
Night Live DJ.
And I'm Jordan Zwicker, and I'm from Vancouver, British Columbia, up in Canada as well.
All right. Sorry about that. For those of you out there watching, you got to hear me introduce the show twice because I didn't hit the mute on the play window. That's my fault, guys. So we guys, you are the men, the masterminds, the brains behind the Sparkle Factor. For those out there who are wondering what the Sparkle Factor is, guys, what is it? Just so I can get my mind around this.
There's a few words that could describe exactly what the Sparkle Factor is. One of the biggest ones to describe it is passion, charisma, energy, and approach.
Okay, so that's painting a picture for me, but it's like painting with 7 different colors and none of them go together. So, Jordan, now we're going to talk to you because hopefully you can bring it home for me, man.
Sure. You know, the description that Barry did really talks about, what we're about, but ultimately it's working with DJs who are in the industry, who love what they do, but are looking for ways to take their product and just elevate it to their next level in really what they do and how they work with their clients. And when they're performing at their events, it's, this is what we've always done. And then we like to come in there and coach with them and give them ideas on, you're doing a great job, but what if we try this for you? So they'll have a different show, they'll get more business, and they'll be, as a company, they'll love what they do and have even more passion.
Yeah, I was wanted to work on it, Barry. You mentioned passion, and Jordan finished with passion. Now, kind of tie us in when you guys are doing this concept of a Sparkle Factor. How does the passion really fit into what you're doing with that?
What the passion does is it's everybody has passion for what they do, but when you really, really love what you do and you're in with both feet 100%, people see that and they feed off of that. And when they see that you love what you do and they see that you care about them, it just makes everything fall into place, and everything is so much easier when you're performing.
So now the concept of the Sparkle Factor, now, is this something that a person, and you guys are going to be speaking at Mobile Beat Las Vegas here in a couple of weeks. Holy cats, we're almost there, aren't we? And this is something you guys, if you got to pass to the show, it can take. But the concept now, is this something that is involved with the whole process from beginning to end when you're putting an event together, or is it something that is more in a planning stage? How does it fit into what I'm doing as a DJ?
Well, it really depends on the type of DJ you are. We like to use the notion that there's a lot of DJs out there, but we also like the concept that DJs should also be entertainers. And as an entertainer, everything you do at your show, people are watching and people are seeing. So whether you're a seasoned veteran of the industry or you're just getting in there, we do an assessment with you to figure out where your vision is, on where you want to go with your company, what you want to get changed. So it could be when we're working with our potential clients, where areas and what avenues do they need that extra work on? And that's sort of how we build a whole concept plan for them and work with them and show them ways and coach with them to get to their successful goals that they want to achieve as a collective group.
Interesting.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, to further expand, we're not reinventing the wheel. And the neat thing about what we're doing is we're taking things that you're already doing and working with those aspects to change everything and take it to a whole new level. So we're not so much going to come in and tell you to do this, this, and this. We want you to do what you're currently doing and just show you a different approach, a different way how to do it, maybe better or differently to get different results.
So now we'll dive into exactly some components, maybe do a little role playing and such, what have you. But is this something that's a better fit for an experienced performer or a less experienced performer? How would that fit into the equation? Jordan, go ahead.
All right. You know what? That's a really great question. I think the reality behind it is when we're working with, and we have current clients who are really just having their own business. It's a new experience for them. Those are the clients that we're going to see a lot more, productivity out of, because we can work with shaping them in all aspects of it. Where the experienced DJs who are doing a great job, it's more of a tweaking things with them. So their results at their shows, they have the basis, they have the grounding behind it, but we're giving them sort of a fresh new look into what they're doing. So at their shows, if they have, clients who see them week in or week out, or, for corporate events yearly, they're not always going to get the same show from the DJ. And that's what we want to also work with them is that, for example, I have clients who I've had for 10 years who are so loyal. But every year, we're always going to offer them a different perspective on how they see us. So it's not like, oh, I've been there, I've done it. What's new? It's a whole concept of just as Barry said too, just changing things a little bit for the more experienced DJs who are doing it right but can do it a little better, and for the inexperienced DJs who are starting the whole process, we'd like to just work with them and transform them from our own experiences, which for myself has been 24 years in the industry, and Barry's been doing this for
29 years.
That means
that's a lot of years.
That's a lot of years. That means, Barry, you won the I'm the old guy award tonight. Just saying. I'm usually the one who takes that one.
I was just going to say I'm only 32. I'm going to be 33 in April.
So guys, let's kind of go through, and maybe you can give us some examples, because there's going to, people might be still kind of trying to wrap their mind around this. I think we're starting to get a picture of it, but give me an example of maybe something where that was used when you're talking about tweaking the show or changing the show just a little bit, so it's customized and unique for each time. Especially Jordan, you've been talking about using the same, working with the same clients for 10 years. What kind of things would you have coached yourself on before coaching today on to make those changes?
For sure. So what we do in our company is when we're going to corporate events, we always do interactive games with them. And that's a big component of trying to engage the whole crowd to get them excited before the dancing. After the dinner is done, the speeches are done, the awards are given out. If we're just playing music, the majority of times from our experiences, no one wants to be first on the dance floor. No one wants to get up. Whether it's that they're nervous, so the DJ can play the greatest song out there, still the result isn't there. So with the interactive games, and we have a huge selection of those that we offer, the end result is to make sure that everybody, without them really knowing what's going on, gathers on the dance floor, and we kick the party off with everybody on it. And whether we do a dance off or a showdown or some sort of interactive notion, that is what we find to be the most successful as our clients do. So if we do the same game every single year, then they're already going to know something's going to happen. So we for example, we do a big milk producing company here in Vancouver. And then we've been doing them for 10 years. And then every single year without fail has always been a similar game with the same result, but an actual different experience. So one of the games that we do is called Salt and Pepper.
Yep.
And basically, I don't know anybody out there who's ever heard this game or seen it. There are different variations. The way we operate it is basically when it's time to dance, rather than saying, as I said before, get up on the dance floor, here's your song. What we'll do is we'll get two volunteers at each table to stand up. One will be the salt, one will be the pepper. And basically now we've started this excitement because everyone at their table is like, oh my gosh, what are these people going to have to do? The next result is basically we get everybody to stand up and we'll play a song as they pass the salt and pepper around. Song goes on. And of course, I do work in a duo. So the DJ's producing the show for me. Once the music stops, all of a sudden there's the biggest laughter over the whole room because people are like, oh my gosh, now what? Ultimately, we pick someone who's holding the salt or pepper, and then they're the table leader. Their job is basically to have everybody line up behind them and be a train. So now if there's 20 tables at this event we're doing, we've got 20 different choo-choo trains going all over when the music starts. Everyone's going around the room, and then before you know it, we give them a code word, which is generally the company's name, and then all of a sudden they line up on the dance floor, table beside table beside table. Now we have 200 people more or less on the dance floor. Everybody's involved. And then we'll go and teach an interactive dance, whether it's Hey Baby or one of those. But what we've done is we've kicked the party off with everybody already there and not having to worry about getting the stragglers of 1 or 2 or 15 people at a time to start the party. We've already accomplished that. And the guests really don't know what's happening. They're just going along because everybody's on the same level. It doesn't matter if you're a good or bad dancer, you're just participating. And that's what we found to be hugely successful. And then every year with that company, we'll always do something different.
Interesting.
And that's the key too. Keeping track when you're doing repeat customers and clients, being aware of what you do 1 year from the next. So that way each year you can keep it fresh and do something different. So that way you're always giving them something fresh and you're keeping them on their toes because they may be expecting the same way next year or the year after, but you're always coming up with something new and fresh. They're not expecting it. And it just makes a better experience for everyone overall.
Now I can't help to think, because I'm a fairly interactive DJ. When you guys are going to be talking at Mobile Beat now, are you guys going to be going through and talking about some of the interaction things, or are you going to be sharing a little bit on how to sell some of these interactive things that are kind of changing and evolving each year to be a fresh new show?
I think a little bit of both, but more importantly, we're going to make the seminar 100% interactive and get everyone involved. So that way they can see some really neat concepts and be involved in them at the same time and see how they're executed and how everything comes together.
Nice. Very nice. So they'll be leaving then with a little notebook full of notes on some really good activities and different concepts that they can use right away.
Exactly. There's a lot of seminars out there, and we're excited to go to a few as well this year. And, you know, you hear the seminar speakers just talk. All they do is this is what you do. And people learn from that, which is important. But with the Sparkle Factor being the brainchild of Barry and I, and the passion that we have about being so interactive since the day we started, we've always felt that if people can visually see what it's about, then they can understand it more, and they can also relate it to how they can also perform, because there's always different skill set levels. Some in really experienced, you know, motivators, as we call them, MCs, can, you know, take a task and perform it amazing. Some people who are not as confident will take what we're teaching them and then adapt it to what works best for them. So the beauty about our seminar is it's great for the guys who have been doing this for 20 years. It's great for the guys who have been doing it for 10 years. And it's great for the guys and girls who are just getting into it. And then they can see, and then they can, you know, by all means, they can record it. I don't know if that's allowed, but if they want to, we'll just assume it is. And then ultimately, and then after that, you know, because we're also doing coaching with people, if they want more and they want to really get the full value of it, they can always approach us after, and then we can work with them one-on-one.
Very nice. Very nice. That's getting right into my home area. I'm a very interactive DJ. I do a lot of games. And as we sit here, right over there is a full shelving unit that has all of my game totes and different activities and props, what have you. Guys, can we jump into? I really want to talk a little bit about selling interaction, because both of you obviously do that, and both of you are doing repeat customers. What are some tips if you guys were going and pitching, especially Jordan, as you were saying that you have been with the same crew year after year? One of the first questions I'm going to start off with is, when you go back to them and they're like, yeah, I love that activity you did last year or the year before, but you don't want to repeat the same thing over and over. How do you sell that idea that you're going to change it and it's going to be just as awesome?
Well, we found ways of taking those same concepts and doing them 3 or 4 or 5 different ways. So even if the client was adamant that they want to do the same activity or the same game, we could still make minor modifications so it's not exactly the same, and we still end up with those amazing results. I have a few clients too where they're corporate clients. We're 8 to 12 years with some of them. And one in particular, every single time the event ends, so our events go till 1 a.m. So at 1:05, the marketing director will come up to me, and the first words out of her mouth are, "I can't wait to see what we're going to do to top this year," because each year you keep building and building. And what's really neat about some of the DJ entertainers starting out is you don't have to go big right out of the gate. You can introduce a concept and then the following year build on top of that, and then the following year build on top of that. So you end up growing as you develop your relationship with the client. They become to trust you. If you're obviously delivering the results and they're happy with your performance and you're really entertaining them and their guests, the employees, the staff, or at a wedding, the wedding guests, they're going to want you back time and time again, because they can see that, again, you have passion, you care about what you do, and you're creating an environment that's fun, and you're creating an experience that they don't get anywhere else.
For sure, I think that's an important point to make, is that a lot of DJs can oh yes, I'm an interactive DJ, and I've heard, even in our chat room tonight, we've had people talking about they're interactive, but they're interactive in different ways. Whether it's more of an interactive without gaming or with microphone skills, or they're maybe in their music, what have you. So it's going to be definitely something different. And but now for the people who, when you're talking to someone, especially someone brand new that has never really experienced an interactive show, how do you convey what this can bring to the party over just a DJ who plays music?
Great question. You have an opportunity every time you go out and do an event, and that is to leave a lasting impression on who you are to all the guests. So an idea of a really simple, non-interactive concept where you need to have great mic skills or gaming and stuff is your initial approach. For example, when it's dinner time, you have an option. You can be a DJ who sits behind your professional setup and just watches people, or you can, go that next level and go to each table and talk to them and say, hey, I'm Jordan. I'm your DJ tonight. First thing I always do at all my parties is I ask them, is the level of the music, how it is right now, all right for your dinner? Because what happens is, with the beauty about a million DJs out there, is when you can find different little things that puts you in a separate category from everybody else, you're already ahead of the game. So when I get a comment from the majority of people, other than the same ones I see when at a bar mitzvah week in and week out, that I've never heard a DJ ever ask me that question, it gives me immediate thought like, wow, now these clients know, hold on a second, this guy cares about my dining experience, and they're going to be more willing to be involved in the night because they feel like you really do care. So little things like that, as inexperienced DJs grow and grow and grow, it's a progression. We've all done our time, but you got to start somewhere. So we have techniques just like that, where we'll give people the opportunity to just, when they have those interactions with people, that all the people can think about is, you know what, that was so refreshing, or that was so nice, or thank you. This is simple thank you. That's all you need. And also, when you're behind your booth, don't look bored. Look excited.
Happy to be there.
Happy to be there. Even if it's not your type of music that you love, I know everyone has a favorite genre of music, but if you just look like you're having fun, then everybody will have, because you're the main guy or girl. Like, they're always looking at you. So just be involved. It's a really important concept, and it's easy to do. But if you don't know how to do it, or you haven't been told, there's a big difference. People can see night and day of that. So it's a good start.
And another important thing is to always smile. Everyone is always watching, and they can see. And, I've been a guest at many parties, and when I look over at the DJ, I see this.
I was just going to grab my phone, and this is probably what you've seen.
Yeah. And maybe that's a sign of inexperience, but I was going to add upon what Jordan mentioned. We talk about this all the time, not only going to the tables and interacting with guests during dinner, but also adapting and paying attention to who you're talking to. If you go to a table with a bunch of 25-year-olds, you're going to talk to them differently than if you go to a table with 65-year-olds. And it's important to be able to adapt to the different genres of music and the different age groups of people, because you're going to relate to them differently and they're going to respond to you differently.
For sure. That connecting with where they're at. And I wanted to, just before we go too far into that, guys, have you found from your experience that there is, when you go out and you start introducing yourself to the table and you're out there talking to the tables for the first time in the course of an evening, especially with a brand new group, do you get the feeling of a wall that has been this imaginary wall that they have built that we have to kind of break down once in a while? Have you guys ever felt that?
Not in a very, very long time. Typically, that level of interaction happens at, say, a wedding reception. And the way we do our weddings, where there might be a grand entrance where we introduce the wedding party and the bride and groom, we tell their story, how they met and fell in love, kind of connect the dots as to how we got here today. The guests have already seen you in that role of introducing the wedding party, the bride and groom, and really setting the tone of the reception. So when you go over to the table, and I've experienced this many, many times, they already know you because they watched you do your introduction. So when you're going to that table already, most of the time they'll say, I've never seen an introduction like that before, or you did a very, very good job introducing. And it was neat because they're a lot more responsive to you.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. That starting to break the ice or what have you, however person it starts. And I talk to brides about this when we're discussing interaction and different things, is that stuff starts, and it starts right away before they're there most of the time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And a lot of it is first impressions, right? Once they see you and they feel that you're likable and memorable, there's going to be sort of this weight lifted off everyone's, shoulders, because they're like, I can relate to this guy. This guy seems like he wants to be there. He wants to have fun. And that, it's all about that moment, that first moment, you pick up the mic or you go to a table, own it, that, and just be there because you want to. And that really should be what it is. Even with all of our guys, it's like, if you feel like you're going to work, then we have a problem. Because when you look at all the jobs in the world out there and you look at what we do, it's not a job. We get paid to entertain. We get paid to play music, sometimes dinner. It's such a wonderful, wonderful world that we're in. And it's ultimately amazing. I look at other people who do jobs and they just aren't happy. But when I get to go to work, I'm entertaining. It's just a dream. It really is a dream come true.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. So guys, this brings me in a little bit different direction. Being again, very interactive. You guys are the life of the party. You're always on doing things. How do you keep it fresh? Where's your that inner drive? Where does that come from for you guys? Barry, why don't you start us off if you would, please?
I think for me, I look at, this might sound funny, but I look at the party as kind of like my playground, and I get to go and play. And it's basically what Jordan just said, about loving what you do and being excited every time you go out. For me, keeping it fresh, it's always seemed to be really natural for me to be creative. A lot of guys have a go-to song, and I think you've talked about this on one of your shows where, if you don't get the dance floor going right away, or you lose the dance floor for whatever reason, what's your go-to song to bring them back? And, I used to tell people my go-to song was always a slow song. I didn't have anything in particular, but if you play a slow song, they all come back in drones. We don't do that anymore. If the dance floor, if the energy level of the room starts dropping a little bit, I'll stop the music and go in the middle of the dance floor with the microphone, and it just comes to me, and we immediately bring that energy level back up, charge the crowd up, and they're back in there having a good time. I don't know what it is. It's magic, but it's there. And, I always ask DJs this when I have an opportunity to talk to them, but, and I'll ask you this too, John, like, have you ever been playing music and someone comes up to you and asks you to play a song that you've already got queued and it's the next song?
Oh, of course.
And what's really cool about that is we don't have any secret powers or sixth sense, although some of us think we do. I think what it is we're so in tune with the energy and the atmosphere with the guests, and everything is in sync. It's just natural, and it just falls into place. So I don't know if I answered your question or not, but for me, it's just a natural thing. I play off people. My energy comes off of dealing with people and doing something and getting a response. So there isn't any particular idea that I have in my head when I'm doing something, although I have structure and I do plan things. But for the most part, I'm really good at ad-libbing and creating things on the fly. And sometimes you have to. And I'll talk a little bit about the salt and pepper game that Jordan talked about. I did it for the first time at a corporate event this past December. Jordan asked me if I've ever heard of it and I should try it. So I said, sure, great, I'm going to do it. Mm-hmm. And lo and behold, the banquet staff are clearing the salt and pepper shakers off the tables moments before we're about to start. So again, just thinking off the top of my head, the table numbers were still on the table. So we did the same concept, but we used the table numbers, got the same response and the same results. But that's just being able to adapt in the moment and being able to make things happen, because part of our job is to react and respond to the environment around us to ensure people have that experience, that amazing time, that fun.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Very cool. Jordan, and Barry went in about 3 different directions. He gave us, in the middle, he gave the answer.
I do that. Those who know me know I was
waiting. It's like, okay, he's going to give us the answer, because if he doesn't, I'm going to ask him for it again. But
I did answer it though.
You
right?
did. You did right in the middle. So Jordan, where do you get, where's that inner fire come for you?
For sure. Mine's going to be a little simpler answer based on what Barry just said. So, it's actually a mentality. And the mentality is that every party you go to, for whoever the party is, whether it's a corporate party, a bar mitzvah, a wedding, that this is special for them. They're not going to get hopefully another opportunity, weddings wise, of course, but another opportunity to have this party again.
Yeah.
So, clients will always say to me, how do you do this week in and week out? And the answer is, because when you have once in a lifetime opportunity and a chance to make it perfect, that's what it is. And that's what you're going to do. So I never, ever will forget that. And that's what keeps me going. But the beauty that we live in now in our world of what's available through social media and through TV and new concepts is there's just so much now than there used to be years ago. So ideas like, America's Hollywood's game show night, that for an example, there are so many ideas there that we can use and modify to work for our parties that keeps it fresh. So when we launch, I watch the show a lot, and they do that game called 4 Letters, and I love that game. So we're like, you know what, this would be perfect at an event. And we did a corporate event, we did a bar mitzvahs, we went out, we got the letters, and we played the game. It did take a long time to prepare it because you gotta, it has to flow right. But ideas like that, Minute to Win It as an example that we incorporate. We'll incorporate that in our Sparkle Factor seminar as well, with modifications. All of those things that people are familiar with, and then when they see it live in front of them, because not everybody gets to go to a game show or really be in the action, it creates this energy that they just love. We do an interactive trivia game that's used on their phones that they see on the big screens. So when we're keeping it fresh because I'm doing research, I'm doing homework, I'm looking what's out there and adapting it to today's world, so the clients and the guests can be engaged, entertained, and enjoy what they're seeing.
And the best part about all of this interaction is the guests are the entertainment, and they're a part of it. They feel like they're a part of the process, and they're very much involved in all of the fun, the activities, and the entertainment. And it's just magical. It really is.
And I think that's a great point there, Barry, that you're talking about, is that it's not really the spotlight on you guys per se. You're more of a really kind of facilitator role. They are the stars of the show. They're the ones that people are going to talk about on Monday about how much fun they had seeing, the cousin Joe up on stage doing da-da-da-da-da.
Exactly. Yeah. And now, with the videos, and it's just, you see it on Facebook that night or the next day. And it's like, you created that, but they made it happen.
Yeah.
Very cool, guys. Very cool. We're just about out of time. If people would like to find out more information, obviously you guys are going to be at Mobile Beat Las Vegas here coming up in a couple of weeks. But if they want to find out more information, just to maybe ask some questions or maybe to get a hold of you and get some ideas, where can they go to find out more?
They can visit the website. It is being redeveloped, but it's there right now, thesparklefactor.ca. And if you'd like to get a hold of Jordan or myself, it's our respective names, Barry or Jordan at thesparklefactor.ca. You could shoot us an email, and we really are looking forward to seeing our old friends and meeting new friends and being a part of the Mobile Beat. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it really is. I'm really looking forward to this year's show, not only for all the cool seminars, as Jordan mentioned earlier. There's a lot of seminars we're looking forward to this year, and of course to see friends we haven't seen for a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
Well, any final thoughts, guys, before we wrap things up?
Get ready to have some fun at Mobile Beat 2016. That is the name of the game.
And we're on.
Oh, we do. Do we have a couple seconds?
2 seconds. Go.
One of the. Don't forget, Jordan and I are going to be featuring the selfie scavenger hunt. We were talking about it online. I just wanted to make a quick mention of it. The Las Vegas Strip. That's the playing board. We're going to start giving clues about a week or so out from Mobile Beat. And all you have to do is find the clue when you're in Las Vegas, take a selfie with it. You'll get to tweet it in. We'll give you the tweet address and everything. And you might win some amazing prizes.
Send me the links, guys, and I'll put those into the description below. But that I've seen the video. That looks like that'll be very interesting. I know I will lose, and I'll lose terribly because I'm no good at, you guys gave that movie clip, and it's like, I have no idea.
Yeah, that won't be one of the clues.
Yeah, I failed already. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us tonight, and we will see you here at Mobile Beat in just a couple of weeks.
Thanks so much, John.
Okay, see ya.
Okay.